Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you've never done a live stream before, welcome. If you have done a live stream before and you're coming back, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for actually coming back week after week to see my live stream. That means a lot to me. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. As you know, I'm going to try to keep the tech issues to a minimum, but it's live so you never know. I do want to say hi to everyone in the chat though. So I see Amber Simmons is here, who's been here, I think, almost every live stream, if not every live stream. So thank you, Amber. We've got Ty, Charlie, you've also been here in a lot of chats. Ruben Gamer1, hello. We got Andy Lynn, hi. Hannah Payton, Natanya, you've also been in a lot of these. Thank you. Zay, nobody that you know, howdy. So we got a lot of people. Chocolate Gore. Oh, everyone's commenting now. Mitchell Poppy, Alex Burton, Motion, LOL, Rachel, Lorraine, Inside Limbo, Tricia, Richard, Jay Headley, Michelle, Romeo. How many people are here? Oh my god, there's a lot of people. 66 people are watching this right now. Holy crap. I was like, why are all these people coming? Oh, there's a lot of people here. Well, hello. Again, I think a lot of you haven't done one of my live stream before, so let me explain how this works. So on these live streams, it's mostly about me wanting to interact with you guys and just talk to you guys. I want to have a back and forth with my audience. So today we're talking about the Peter Pan and Wendy movie, which I just saw. I know I haven't done a whole video on it. I've been debating about whether I should do a video or just talk about it in my live stream, so that's what I'm trying today. I have a lot of opinions on it. I also have a review that I want to react to with you guys of someone covering the Peter Pan and Wendy movie. And there's a lot that I agree, but a lot I disagree with, so we're going to react to that together. And then at the end of this stream, we're going to cover the Dune trailer because I'm excited for Dune. Judging by the fact that not a lot of you watched the video, I guess not a lot of you are excited for Dune, but I am. So that's why I'm saving that for the very end. And then at the very, very end, we do like a Q&A where I just kind of answer all your questions, whatever you may have. So that's how today's live stream is going to go. How is everyone doing? Yes, the movie is out, Damien. It's on Disney+. It's not in theaters. Jay Headley says, for some reason, so many people hate it. Actually, I will surprise you because I expected to totally 100% hate this movie just based off the trailer. I thought, as you guys know, I thought the trailers for Peter Pan and Wendy did not look good, at all. I thought it looked dreary, dull, and like it'd be really slow and boring. And to be fair, I think a lot of people still watched the movie and thought that, but I actually liked it a lot more than I expected to, a lot more. It still has some issues, and I'll go over it in a minute, but I liked it more than I thought I would. I was surprised. Has anyone seen the movie yet? Charlie, you're doing fine. That's great. Nobody that you know says, haven't seen the movie yet, but when I see the trailer, didn't like it. Yeah, I didn't like the trailer either. Didn't like the trailer at all, as I've pointed out. So the fact that I like the movie is shocking to me. Oh, but Tiffany says it's boring. I can see why you think that too. That's the thing about this movie. If you didn't like it, I totally understand why. There's a lot that I also didn't like about it, too. I just thought that the things that I liked about it, I liked more than the things that I didn't like about it. Stella Rose Mix says, the live-action one fixed a racist issue the classic one had. Yeah, there was a lot of racism in the original Peter Pan movie, for sure, especially with the Native Americans, but also a lot of sexism. I tried watching that original Peter Pan movie, a couple years ago, and was like, oof. This did not age well. This movie did not age well. But most of you haven't watched it. Okay. It's not coming out to theaters, Delirium. It's only on Disney+. So, okay. Now that you guys have all caught up, I'm going to tell you what I thought about this movie, and then we're going to get into someone else's review, and I'm going to, do a rebuttal. So basically, I thought this movie is not at all what anyone wants or expects from a Peter Pan movie. I think most people, when they think of Peter Pan, they think, oh, it's a fun adventure film for kids, where they go off to a fun tropical paradise where there's, very little adults and you get to have all these swashbuckling adventures. Yes, there's a a message of the movie of, being afraid to grow up and all of that. Of course, that's part of the movie. But at the heart of it, it's always been like more of a fun adventure film, I think. The Hook movie was a fun adventure film. The 2003 Peter Pan version was a bright, colorful fantasy film. This movie, this new one that just came out, is none of that. If you're expecting a fun adventure film, you will be very, very disappointed and probably not like this movie and think it's really boring. Because it's somber, it's slow, it's very introspective, it's kind of existential. Like, I finished watching the movie and I was like, I feel like I'm having an existential crisis because it's so dreary. Like, they take the theme of being afraid to grow up and they really run with it. Like, really run with it. Like, in some ways, I think it's quite beautiful how they do it, but in others, it just made me kind of existential about death and, like, how death is coming for us all and there's nothing you could do about it. Like, if you want to cry and have, like, a very introspective moment about life and about growing up and maturing, then this is the movie for you. But if you want to have a fun time, if you just want to watch a fun adventure movie with some kids on some cool fantasy island, you will be sorely disappointed. Because one of the things that I really did not like about this movie was Neverland itself. I thought Neverland was so bland, so boring. There was no life or fantasy or magic to that place whatsoever. It just felt like some British islands that they had access to film to, and they did nothing to really make the place feel magical or wondrous. Like, it was so uninteresting and bland to look at. Like, I don't think this movie was shot very well. Like, I think there's just so many more interesting things they could have done with Neverland visually that they just kind of made it look like some kids playing out on some very tiny island somewhere, and that's it. You don't really get to see mermaids. Like, the magic of the island is not really there. There's no real magic in this place at all. And then it's very, very dark and gloomy a lot of the times, especially at night. You can hardly see what's happening because it gets so dark. It's like The Little Mermaid in the way. Like, they have a lot of the same issues where it just gets so dark you can't even see anything. So, on one hand, I'm like, if you can just turn your brain off and accept that this is not like a typical Peter Pan movie, and this is more of like an introspective deep dive on aging and childhood innocence, then yeah, you'll be into this. And I think I was able to like do that. I was able to accept the movie for what it was rather than what I wished it had been. Because if I had just stuck to wishing it had been a lot brighter and more fun and more like joyous, I would have hated this movie. But if that's what you really want and you don't want a more slower, somber movie, you're probably going to hate this film. Nobody that you know says, did we go downhill with the lighting in live action movies? Yeah, I don't understand what's going on. In fact, let's go to it now. So I have one scene from the movie here that I want to share with you guys. I don't think I can share the whole thing because, copyright. But I just want to show just how bland and dark this movie looks. Now, to be fair, once they get to Neverland, most of the scenes are during the day, so it is a bit brighter. But for the first whole act of the movie, it's this dark. Like, this dark. This bland, depressing looking. Like, you can barely even make Peter Pan out of the scene here. Again, it's exactly like The Little Mermaid, where I pointed out in my video. You couldn't even, you could barely make out poor Halle Bailey from her background because everything is so, just dark mush. And this is exactly what it's happening again with Peter Pan. How can you see him? You can't. It's ridiculous. And then poor Tinkerbell. I actually thought that Tinkerbell was one of the most disappointing parts of the movie because they barely used her. Barely. Tinkerbell in this movie is basically there just to stand around and react to things and occasionally sprinkle pixie dust on stuff when the plot needs her to. That's all she does in this movie. Tinkerbell is dramatically underutilized in this film. She's hardly in it, and I thought that was really upsetting. Noah Ryan says, I think Q-Force video got taken down. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So I did just side note, I did just post a video like an hour ago on Q-Force, and of course, because Universal owns Q-Force and Universal is a menace to copyright, they took it down pretty much immediately. So I'm going to try to re-edit it and put it back up, but I don't know. This was the same video I kept trying to put out last week and it wouldn't let me, so I think this video just might be a wash. If you got to see it, I'm glad, but if you didn't, I'm really sorry. I'm going to try to put it back up, but we'll see. I can't promise anything. Universal is notorious for being hard on copyright on YouTube, so we'll see. But Lulu said, I was expecting more Tinkerbell too. Yeah, Tinkerbell was hardly in this movie. I was really upset about that. And you know, it sucks especially because they decided to race bend Tinkerbell, which is fine. I don't care. But then they made her, like, not have anything to do with the movie, and they took away a lot of her personality and spunk and literal sparkle. So, how are you helping us when you race bend the character and then you don't even do the character justice? You know what I mean? Like, look at how awful this shot looks. Like, it's the exact same scenario where, again, it's so, like, washed out and underlit and not even color graded well, to the point where poor Yara Shahidi here, who's a beautiful woman, looks gray in her own movie, and the background just looks washed out and ugly, and I'm just like, who is this appealing to? And again, I know I just said that I actually liked the movie more than I thought, and I did, but the visuals are still, I think, unforgivable. They're easily the worst part of this movie. Amber Simmons says, you watched it too. Okay, what did you think of it, Amber? Amber says, yeah, I literally can't see her. It's so dark. And that's how it is for, like, I'm not even kidding. For the entire first act of the movie, it's this dark. And you can't see anything. It's very frustrating. Jay Headley says they took away the Lost Boy shooting Wendy. Yeah, they did a lot of changes in this. One of the changes that they did that you've probably have seen, I think I brought it up already, is that, of course, they did do the whole, like, they added girls to the Lost Boys. And I've seen a lot of people point out that that doesn't really make a lot of sense, because in the original Peter Pan book, the reason why the Lost Boys were all boys was because girls were too smart to ever get lost in Neverland. So it was supposed to be a commentary that women were too smart to be part of the Lost Boys. And then in this version, they add women, which I think, ironically, kind of negates the actual progressivism that was in the original book, but that's modern day Disney for you. Erin Jaeger says she really made her a girl boss. Which one, Wendy or Tinkerbell? Yeah, Wendy, they definitely made a girl boss, for sure. Namor7 says, oh, hi, Namor, you've been here a lot. All the dark cinematography to mask subpar CGI, Disney's scapegoat. Yeah, it could be it. I mean, we could keep going, because this scene is actually the first scene where Wendy learns how to fly. If you remember from the original cartoon, that scene is very magical. Even though it's at night, you could still see everyone. It's like one of the most iconic pivotal moments of the film. And I want to show you how the live action version does it, because it's like they took all the magic and whimsy out of it. It's crazy. So here we have Tinkerbell about to sprinkle some pixie dust on Wendy so she can fly. Now, I will say, here's one thing I like. So, as we all know, in order to fly in Peter Pan, you have to think of happy thoughts. So, in the movie, they actually do show her having happy thoughts, and in the beginning, her happy thoughts are all of her childhood memories, and she can't see herself older than what she is now. Whereas later in the movie, when she accepts growing older, she sees herself grow older, and that's what makes her fly. It's her happy thoughts of being older. So I thought that character arc was done well. That's one thing I did like about the movie. But getting back to the flying bit, see, these are all her memories of being a young child. But then she flies. But look at how dark it is. Look at it. It looks like dark gray mush. I don't understand why. Why did they make it look like this? I don't get it. Do they think that making something darker makes it edgy? I don't understand. I mean, it just looks like it's about to storm any minute. Look at the clouds. And then as they keep flying, it's just like they're flying through gray nothingness. Do you feel the magic? Honestly, It was at this point in the movie, because this is, you know, obviously within the first act, that I was like, oh no, I'm really gonna hate this film. But thankfully it does get better after this. But what did you guys think of that? Um, yeah, Jay Hidley says semi-realism. I think that's what they're going for. I think that they're going for semi-realism, and I don't think that they should be. I know that, I guess Disney thinks the point of doing these live action movies is to make everything like super realistic, but I think the more they do that, the more they point out that these movies were actually better animated. Because honestly, I don't understand how you could defend this entire sequence here. Joe Pedro says, at least Tinkerbell should be more bright. She's a pixie. Yeah, I mean, she literally is supposed to glow, but she doesn't even glow. She just kind of like blends into the background. Mitchell, I haven't seen, or Michael, I haven't seen Guardians 3 yet. I'm seeing it tonight, actually. Do you guys want to see a review of that? Do you want me to review Guardians? Manini Cat. Can I just call you Kitty Cat? How do you pronounce Maninin? It's like a tongue twister for me. I've seen documentaries that look more vibrant. Yeah, I feel like I've seen more documentaries on like World War II films that looked more vibrant than this. Nobody that you know says, yeah, you were worried. Jay Headley says the color tone gives me Christopher Robin vibes. See, even in the live-action Christopher Robin movie, I get why they desaturated a little bit. It's supposed to represent how the adult world is, like, kind of sad, actually. But in this one, you're supposed to see this from the perspective of the child. Again, if they had made Neverland more bright and colorful in contrast with this very dark and ugly-looking London, I think that it would have made the difference. Because then I would have just said, oh, of course they made it look dark and drab in London because we need the contrast for later on when they're in Neverland. But you'll see, when they actually get to Neverland, all they do is, like, make it daytime. It still looks drab and boring. Oh, so you guys do want to see my review on Guardians 3? Thank you. Alright, maybe I'll actually do it. Hi, Britt, you're my favorite reviewer. Oh, thank you, Rosie. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. Diego Martinez says, Disney is the worst. I can't believe they had an entire Marvel comic at their disposal and they ruined it. It's a bust. Nobody likes superhero movies now. Wait, what are you talking about? Are you talking about Guardians? I'm talking about Peter Pan and Wendy right now. Jay Headley says, I pretty much skipped that bit hoping for the shooting scene. Oh, so you skipped this part when you watched it? Yeah, I don't blame you. It's color grade, it's giving me Riverdale, says Gina. Oof. Yeah, it's definitely very angsty. So let's skip to this, this guy did a review of Peter Pan and Wendy, and I thought he brought up some good points that I agree with and some points that I don't agree with. So I thought we would react to this together, because I think you guys would enjoy it. Oh, but before we do that, we have a super chat from Angel Norick. Thank you so much. Hi, Brittney. Here's a little something. I also wanted to mention that I feel bad for the actors in these movies because the real issue is the CGI and colors. Yes, 100%. I really think, maybe it's because Disney is so dedicated to realism that they think making their movies look so depressing is what's going to make it look real. I don't know. It's just very bizarre, but thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. All right. Let's get to this review. Can you guys hear it?
What is the human obsession with remakes? This animated version is way
Hello?
And another one. Are you even surprised? I'm not gonna lie about this one. Peter Pan and Wendy went completely under the radar.
Yes, I just saw someone else ask about the Q-Force video. Yeah, unfortunately, Universal just took it down right before I did this, so I am going to try to get it back up. Universal is notorious about copyright. I'm sorry if you didn't get to see the Q-Force video. I worked really hard on it, but I don't know if it's going to be able to be posted, but we'll see. Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because Disney is really bad at marketing their movies.
They are very bad at marketing their movies.
It wasn't until like a week ago that I learned about this movie
actually think that's a very great point right off the bat. I feel like this isn't just a Disney issue, this is like a Hollywood-wide issue, but I feel like a lot of times when people are like, oh, why didn't people see such and such movie? It's like, well, I didn't even know that movie was coming out. Did you guys even know that Peter Pan and Wendy was coming out? Because I already saw some comments that said that they didn't. Abby Mozart says they're good. There are some good. TH? I don't know what that means. Catherine Pulley says, I think they forgot that Neverland is supposed to be a place full of magic and adventure where kids would want to stay. Exactly. Instead, they just showed land and rocks. Exactly what my issue is. They made Neverland look like a boring place you'd get bored with after like 10 minutes. Not a place that a kid would want to live in forever. It should have actually been like someone else brought this up, but it should have like been like the kid place from Shark Boy and Lava Girl. You know, the place where all the kids want to hang out because there's lots of candy and rides and stuff. It should have been like a kid's paradise. That's what Neverland is supposed to be. And they made it seem like some boomer's paradise where they want to retire one day. I don't get it. Regan says that they only knew about this movie from me. So yeah, that should tell you something about the marketing. They are not getting the word out about these movies. Alright, let's get back to this review.
So, of course, this meant I was going to have to rewatch the original for the first time since I was a kid. And yeah, it's a classic.
It's a classic, but it does have some dated stuff in it.
It's not super deep or anything, but it has great songs.
Yeah, great point. Kiwi Roses says the marketing for Peter Pan and Wendy was god-awful. I didn't see a single ad. You were the best ad for the movie. So how many of you guys only knew about this movie existing because of me? That's interesting. I didn't know that I was like advertising this movie for Disney. That's crazy. Nobody that you know says they released the trailer and that was it. Yeah, there's not really much marketing. I think it's because it's just going on Disney Plus. They don't really market those movies. Chocolate Gore says, did they not market it because they're so stingy? I think it's a Disney Plus thing. Streaming services don't really market the movies on streaming because they just think people will see it once they log on to the app. And that's all the advertising they need, which I think is dumb. Wow, a lot of you only knew about this movie because of me. Wow, Disney. You should really fix that. Holy crap. Okay, let's get back to it.
Beautiful animation, and not to mention the funniest villains Disney has made up until these movies.
Yeah, they were pretty funny. Shmi in the movie was nothing. I feel like Shmi was like an afterthought, a character that they only decided to add when they realized that they were missing someone. He basically did nothing in this movie. If there's anyone who had less to do in this film than Tinkerbell, it would be Shmi. He was like barely there.
Easily the best part of the original film, and he had such great chemistry and energy.
Yeah. They have a lot of good gags in the original. Starry Sky Knight says they think Disney is embarrassed by their own products. I could see that. They should be. Yeah, I know. Namor7 says hand-drawn animation will always be better. Yeah. Oh, hand-drawn animation will always surpass 3D animation. Yeah, I mean, I feel like something about 2D animation just feels timeless, where 3D animation can feel very dated. I mean, just look at the first Toy Story movie. Obviously, that movie was a landmark in what it achieved, and it's still a good film, but the animation in that film does not hold up. But 2D always holds up. This movie's from the 50s, and it looks incredible. So yeah, I really want more 2D animation for sure. Motion LOL says, the only marketing I saw was on a TV ad while at a taco place, and from you. Oh god, that's bad. You saw an ad at a taco place? That's it? Oh man. They really need to advertise these movies. How are people supposed to know you're making stuff? Yeah. Let's keep going.
I found it, Captain. Good as new.
Why, you blithering?
The original movie is actually pretty
Yeah.
And I love it for that.
Very dated, though.
Anything that Walt Disney was a master of, it was comedic timing. From the sound effects, the voice acting, this is how slapstick should be done, and it's incredible.
I wish there was a lot more slapstick in the live action one we just saw, but it was too somber and depressing for that. There were like maybe 3 jokes in the whole movie. Not that the whole movie has to be full of jokes, you can go overboard with it, but I think they went underboard with it. Like, I really feel like there could have been just a slightly bit more lightness to it. Like, the whole film is just super heavy. When you have the original where there's all this like slapstick comedy that they just completely left out of the film, I just feel like the movie would have been a little bit better if they added just some of the humor from the original film a bit more. Just so it wasn't so serious and dark all the time. Starry Sky Knight says, bring back slapstick and campy villains. Yes! Can we not have a campy villain? Even though I thought that, what's his face, who played, Captain Hook. What's his name? The guy that plays Captain Hook. You know who I'm talking about. He's a very famous actor. Jude Law plays Captain Hook. He did a very good job. Like, I thought his acting in that was damn near Oscar worthy. I thought he was genuinely that impressive as Hook. But they took a lot of the campiness out of the character, and they made Hook more of like a tortured soul rather than like a campy pirate, which is what he was in the original. I kind of wish he had a bit more camp to him too. I really want Disney to just stop doing this whole like making their villains sympathetic. That's getting really tired. I just want a villain that's just evil because they like being evil. Oh, I should probably mention this because I didn't say this before. But they actually did change something really major in the live action version. So with Captain Hook in this version, he used to be a lost boy. Him and Peter Pan were best friends, but because Captain Hook missed his mother, Peter Pan banished him from Neverland and made him like go back to home. But when Hook came back, that's when he came back adult, and he was all like angry and mad at the world, and he hated Peter, and that's why they have beef. I just wanted to explain that to you because I thought that was really stupid. That was one of the things I didn't like about the movie. I thought, like, why would they make Peter... They kind of turned Peter into a bit of an asshole to Hook. Like, in the end, they almost made it seem like Hook was justified for being mad at Peter because Peter literally caused him to lose an arm and, like, banished him from Neverland just because he missed his mom. I thought that was weird. I don't know. Anyone who's seen it thought that was weird, too? Yeah, they kind of made Peter, like, not in the right in the end. Like, they definitely made it seem like Peter should have apologized to Hook, which I thought was strange. Motion LOL says, a man can't miss his mom. Exactly! Literally, that's why Hook hates Peter so much. And I'm just like, that's the reason they went with? What? Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as say Peter is the villain, but he's definitely, like, I wouldn't say, like, a good guy. Yeah, okay. So a lot of you guys didn't know about that. Yeah, I'm glad I clarified that for you. That was one of the twists in the movie that I thought didn't work. Yeah, they made Hook, they gave Hook a sympathetic sob story, which I thought was like, really? We're doing this? Really? Anyway, getting back to the review. Oh. Look at that 2D animation. It looks so good. Like, you can't tell me, like, how expressive the characters are and, like, how physical their bodies are. Like, how is this worse than what we got with the live action where everyone, pretty much, except for Captain Hook, speaks in monotone? Especially Peter. Like, I'm not trying to hate on any kid actors, but the guy that played Peter in this movie, he was very wooden. I thought he didn't give Peter any of, like, the likability and charm that Peter is supposed to have. But when you see that compared to this, it's like, how did you think that the live action was better? It's so much more alive and expressive. Yes, Birdie, thank you. And you can actually see what's happening. Thank you. Manuel Medrano says, and forget how much I love the original. Yeah, The original's pretty good. Like, I'm not surprised they had to update it, because if you have watched the original, there are definitely a lot of dated stuff in it. So I don't mind them, like, making the cast diverse and all that. That's fine. I just don't think the movie itself is what most people want from it. Again, I was kind of able to, I guess, accept it for what it was, as this kind of, like, melancholy story about death and aging. But if you actually just want, like, a fun adventure film for kids, this is not it. It's, like, the opposite of that. Oh, Catherine Pulley says, to be honest, this new Peter sounded more grown up. No hate to the kid. Yeah, he felt very mature for someone who was literally supposed to have a Peter Pan complex. Like, he's supposed to be a lot more childish than he behaved. I agree with you. No, Birdie, Tinkerbell does not try to kill Wendy in this movie. Like I said, Tinkerbell barely has any role in this movie at all. She just kind of stands around and watches people do things. That's pretty much the extent of it. And then the director, I don't know if you guys heard this, but the director, David Lowery, who, if you watch my Mario video, you might know who David Lowery is. He said that he didn't want to give Tinkerbell sparkle because he didn't think that made sense. Yeah, that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with creatives here that don't care about the source material and don't understand it. That's why he didn't give Tinkerbell any sparkle. And I feel like that mindset affected the entire film. It's like he took all the magic out of Neverland, because I feel like to David Lowery, that was not what was interesting to him. He cared a lot more about the themes of the movie, of like time and stuff, and he cared a lot about Wendy and Hook, you can tell. But like everything else and every other character, I don't think David Lowery cared much about. Like, he didn't care about the mermaids. You barely see them. You saw them for like one shot that's in the trailer. Like I said, Tinkerbell's hardly in it. There's like almost no magic on Neverland at all. It's just a story about like the characters talking for the most part. Oh, hell no. You guys are like, oh, hell no. Yeah. Joe Pedro says, like, everyone knows that real pixies don't have sparkles. Yeah, I know. It was a dumb comment, too, because it's like, it's magic. It's not supposed to make sense. That's what makes it magical. It's like, you just believe that she can do that. That's what makes it magical. Kimchi says, you can do a live action film well with little CGI. I mean, the look at the Joker. Exactly. Thank you. Rhoda Adenola says, but did they at least give Peter Pan his unique ginger hair? Oh, do you not know what Peter Pan looks like? No, they did not. Let's see. I'm gonna look it up. Peter Pan and Wendy. Alright. So, because I guess a lot of you have not seen it, I'm gonna show you what these people look like. This is Peter. Oh, you can't see. What? Okay. Hold on, let me move this. I don't know what to do. Okay. But you can sort of see Peter there. He is different. I don't want to hate on a child actor because that's lame, but I honestly think they could have gotten a better actor. He was kind of wooden in the movie, and he delivered most of his lines the same way. Like, I feel like Peter Pan and Wendy, like, the story of Peter Pan is supposed to have this childlike wonder to it, and I feel like they chose every boring decision possible. Jay Headley says, at least they gave Tiger Lily more of a role in the film. Oh my god, Birdie, they did my boy dirty. I'm not gonna say anything about the kid's looks, obviously. I think he looks fine. I don't care that they race bent the role. I just don't think the kid is a very good actor. I didn't see the 2015 Pan movie. Was that good? Yeah, Motion LOL. Every actor in the movie seemed like they didn't want to be there. I don't even think it's that they didn't want to be there. I actually feel like the actors did give a lot. I think it's just that they were doing what they were told by their director. And the director wanted to make a movie that was very different from the original. And I think that's why a lot of people are not a fan of this, because they changed quite a bit. So yeah, so that's the actor. Um, Finn reading blog says the costumes were really bad. Peter, Tiger Lily, yikes. Something about Peter, no, not Peter, Tiger Lily. Something about Tiger Lily that bothered me is that I feel like Disney was so scared to offend someone that they barely had Tiger Lily or any of her tribe members in the movie. Like, I feel like in the original, yes, obviously there were a lot of racist undertones to that, and I'm glad Disney changed that, but I feel like they were so scared to use the Native American tribes in this movie that you only really see them in one quick shot, and that's it. And then occasionally Tiger Lily comes out and like talks to Peter and gives Peter and Wendy like a pep talk, and that's pretty much it. Maybe I'm wrong, but to me it felt very much like they were holding back from the whole Native American aspect of this movie, because I think Disney was really scared. Guy Gadboy says, as usual with race swaps, one has to ask if it's important to have representation, but why is it okay to take that representation away from one race and give it to another? This is, I think, probably the biggest conversation in this whole race swap debate, is when is it okay to do it and when isn't. I don't know. I think this conversation is very nuanced. Overall, I would say I don't care about race swaps. I wish we as a society in general would focus a whole lot less on race. But at the same time, I think what the reason why Disney keeps doing these race swaps is because the originals were so white that they feel like in order to make them more diverse, the only way to do that is to race swap actors. And they think that helps. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I think that's why Disney's doing it. That, and because they think adding more diversity will give them money, because at the end of the day, they're still a major conglomeration that wants to make money. Let's not forget that's their main objective. Over diversity, over equality, over anything. They want to make money. So I think that's why they keep doing it. Namor7 says, Hollywood in general is concerned of taking any chances artistically, afraid they'll offend anyone. Yeah, you can really see that. You can really, especially in Peter Pan and Wendy, like I said, I feel like a lot of the Native American aspects of the movie were cut down because I think they were too afraid to show too much of it. Carter says, might be an unpopular opinion, but I kind of like how Hook-Pan relationship in the new movie was fleshed out more. That's not bad. Again, I actually kind of agree with you. What I'm trying to say is that I think there is a very big disconnect between what I think most people want out of a Peter Pan movie and what this film actually delivered. If you can just accept that this movie is very, very different from the original, you might actually like it. But if you want that swashbuckling, fun adventure film for kids, again, you're going to hate it because it's not that. I have seen Hook. I love Hook. Hook is a great movie. I wish this movie was more like Hook, to be honest. I think that's the kind of movie people want from Peter Pan. But Disney was not interested in making that movie. Alright, should we go back to the review?
First, the original had its issues. Really questionable issues.
Very issues. See, I'm glad that we didn't do this. See, there are some things that do need to be updated for a modern audience. This is one of those things where obviously we could not do today, for good reason.
In racism, it's pretty hard not to get won over by its lighthearted tone and whimsical energy. But of course, per the course of these live-action remakes,
see, look at how boring and bland it looks. It looks like they just shot this in someone's backyard or something. Like, it's supposed to be a children's paradise, but I feel like they could just be in the woods somewhere in North America. You know what I mean? Like, does this look like a place that kids would want to get lost in and stay in forever and, like, run away to? I don't think so.
Just try and fail to copy and paste, do nothing new or original, because why bother?
Yeah.
So, I watched it, and surprisingly
it does do a lot
it's
new.
Not a complete rehash of the original.
And I think, again, that's probably why I like the movie more than most, is because it's not a direct copy of the original. It does try to do something different. I just don't think that the differences, again, are what people want from a Peter Pan movie. Nobody that you know says it looks like my backyard. Yeah. Manuel Madro says there is a disingenuous fog that covers the whole movie. Yeah, and again, it's not just this movie. I feel like it's a Hollywood problem. There's like this gray film over a lot of movies now that I don't know why it's there. It's in this movie. It looks like it's in the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I don't know why it's there. It's very ugly. Starry Sky Knight says, I feel like this one of the times Tim Burton should have brought to direct this. Oh, a Tim Burton Peter Pan movie would have been interesting. I don't know. I feel like a Guy Ritchie Peter Pan movie would have been really cool. That's what I would have wanted to see. Or, sorry. Or a James Cameron. James Cameron would never do a live-action Disney movie, but James Cameron Peter Pan film would be incredible. I would pay lots of money to see that. Carter says, makes sense since David Lowery directed both this and Pete's Dragon. Yes, Pete's Dragon was also very desaturated and kind of had the same color tone. I think that's just this guy's style. Alright, let's keep going.
It actually tries new things and tries to be its own thing, which I think is cool. I wasn't expecting that at all. So, who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe this will actually be a decent remake. I mean,
it was okay.
I love the movie Hook, which is a live-action Peter Pan film, so it's not like this is an impossible...
So, Jay says they clearly want to try new things. Still wish they kept the shooting Wendy and banishing scene. That's always my part. That's your favorite part of the Peter Pan story. Yeah, they changed a lot. I would say out of all the Disney live action remakes, this one probably is one of the ones that changed the most. Starry Sky Knight says, "Hey, if it sucks, at least we get a cool set design." Wait, what are you talking about? This movie? I don't think the set looks that good in this movie. That's one of my main complaints. Jolion Ayla says, why did they make another live-action movie? 2 of them already existed. We didn't need another one. I think that's probably why they went so different with this live-action remake, because we've had so many Peter Pan movies. I think they wanted to do something dramatically different from the others, and they went so far different, I don't think most people are going to like it. Alright, let's keep going.
Hell, maybe in fact, this will be another live-action remake from Disney. Of course it's bad. It's actually really, really bad. It's not as bad as Pinocchio or Mulan or anything like that.
No, it's not nearly as bad. Yeah. Look at how... Okay, I'm glad he brought this up. Again...
Really bad. It's not as bad as Pinocchio or Mulan or anything like that. But this is
look at how dark this is. This isn't Neverland, by the way. This isn't in London. This isn't pre or post anything. This is Neverland. Look at how dark Neverland looks. It's so depressing. Oh, thank you, Kellen Roar. Thank you for the super chat. You didn't have a question. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. But yeah, this is how the movie looks. Just very, very depressing. Love your reviews. Keep up the great work, Brittney. Thank you so much, Kellen Roar. That's very, very sweet. Appreciate it. Yeah, you can't see him. It's really bad.
Perhaps the single most boring live-action remake we've gotten to date. It is so fucking...
A lot of you thought it was boring, too.
Such a boring movie to
look at how... Just... I can't... Okay. I know I've harped on this a lot. I know I've repeated myself a lot. This will be the last time I mention it in this video. Why does it look like this? Again, I actually kind of liked the movie. I thought it was okay. But this image right here is like one of the main reasons why I can't say that it was great or that it was like a fantastic movie. Look at how bad this looks. You can't even barely see the street. It just looks like there's this ugly fog going through the air where everyone else or everything else is all just like this dark, dark blah. It looks terrible. I'm sorry. I can't get behind it. I just can't.
I mean, just look at this.
Yes, thank you.
Where is the color?
Thank you.
I can't see shit in this film. Why is a Peter Pan movie so desaturated?
I don't know.
Chasing after a shadow in this scene, but
you can't see it. Exactly. Look, this is a scene where... Sorry, I'm getting heated. Peter Pan is supposed to be looking after his shadow. He's trying to find his shadow, but everything is so dark. Where is his shadow? Please tell me. Can you see it? It's up here, by the way. This, can you tell the difference between this gray blob and I don't know, this gray blob or this gray blob? I can't.
Make it out.
It's ridiculous. Do you see what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm so glad that he pointed that out because I'm just like, we couldn't even see the shadow because everything is so dark. Natanya says, I cringe at the line when Wendy said the power belongs to no power. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I bet I can find that scene because I don't think all of you have seen it. Let me see. Peter Pan and Wendy. Power belongs to me. Can I find it? Yes, this scene. This scene here. Thank you for pointing that out. So we get Wendy finally flies, which I actually like this scene. I thought it was a beautiful scene. But then she ruins it with this terrible line afterward. Listen to this. So she's flying. She's happy because she's okay with being old. And she says, no, this magic belongs to no boy. And of course we have to have that very cringy, forced girl boss moment. I actually was really liking that scene up until that line. And I'm just like, why, Disney? Why? Yeah, I know. Oh, you guys are still talking about the shadow, yeah. There is a bit of a delay on the chat, so you guys are still talking about the shadow. But yes, the whole Hook saying, oh, is that boy's magic? And then Wendy's like, no, this magic belongs to no boy. I'm like, Wendy could have said so many things that would have been better in that moment that actually would have served her character better. Like, no, this magic belongs to me. Or no, this magic is mine. Like, just making it about Wendy, not about boys versus girls. That just annoys me. Hi, Abdullah. Yes, I can see you. Yeah, Danielle, Neverland looks awful. Agree. Starry Sky Knight says, anyone think Peter Pan 2 when they see that? Peter Pan 2? There's a second one? Void of creation. So boys can't be happy? Is what she meant? I don't understand. And it was such a cringy line. I actually thought she was gonna subvert expectations and say, oh no, this magic is all mine. Like, just saying this is about Wendy. But again, they had to make it a girls versus boys thing, and I think I'm really, really tired of that. Lynn Slayer 14 says, who else thinks that V from Arcane is the best strong female character? She's definitely up there. Arcane is one of those shows where I feel like Hollywood actually does diversity right. It does writing right. It does character development right. It does a lot right that a lot of other shows just don't get right. Like, I have no problems with diversity. Obviously, as a black woman, I champion diversity. I just find that a lot of the times, Hollywood does it very poorly. Either they'll give, like, another black role, and they'll, like what they did with Tinkerbell. Like, they make Tinkerbell black, but then they hardly give her any screen time or anything to do, and they don't even light her well, so her skin looks gray. Or they make it very, very preachy, where they make it sound like basically you're being preached at and nobody likes being preached at. And I feel like Arcane is one of those shows where they didn't do either of those things, and the diversity in that show just works. Like, no complaints. I want more of that. Catherine Pulley says, why did they make it a girls versus boys thing when they already included girls in The Lost Boy? Because Disney just can't help themselves with their girl boss moments. They're addicted to them. I don't understand it. Chocolate Gore says, also Wendy was so unlikable, especially in the intro when she blames a broken mirror on her brother. Gaslight gatekeep girl boss. Oh, we have another super chat from Shelly. You were so generous. Thank you, Shelly. She says, to be fair, I think they were going for an I am no man scene from Lord of the Rings. Loved your reaction to Dune trailer, by the way. Oh, thank you. I'm glad that you liked my Dune review. Yeah, if you haven't seen my Dune trailer review, please go watch it. I don't think a lot of you saw it. Dune is a very good movie. But thank you for your super chat, Shelly. I am no man scene from Lord of the Rings. I have not seen... Okay, I have a confession to make. I've only seen one Lord of the Rings movie. I know. Cue the tomatoes, cue the booze. I get it. I know I should lose my nerd cred. I get it. But it's just like the one major franchise I've never been able to get into. I've tried it. I really tried. It's just not for me. So I don't even know what scene you're talking about, Shelley. I'm sorry. Joe says Arcane is great. Yes, it is. All right. Let's get back to the review. Abdullah's booing me. I'm sorry. No, Scary Star Knights. Oh no, you guys are booing me. Not the tomato manic. Oh no. Heretic. No. Not all the tomatoes. There's so many tomatoes and booze in this because I haven't seen Lord of the Rings. Okay. Okay. How about this? I will watch the second and third Lord of the Rings movies. I will make myself watch them, okay? Will that make you happy? I'll try. I will do it for you guys. Okay. Black by Popular Demand says, I'm a movie and gamer nerd and just watched Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter franchise. I'm a nerd about a lot of stuff. Like, I love superheroes. I love Harry Potter. I even like Star Trek. I like Dune. I love a lot of franchises. It's just the Lord of the Rings is like the one I haven't been able to get into. Alright. Let's keep going. Yeah, this scene right here. It could have been so good. And bringing up the point that I talked about earlier. Oh, they don't show it in this clip. Never mind. But this is the scene that I was talking about earlier where I said that she sees all the flashes of her life in the future, her getting older, and that's what makes her happy. I thought that was very beautiful, actually. I liked that arc completion. I thought that was well done. Let's get back to the review, though. This review is taking forever to get through. Yeah. Oh, look! All he did was up the brightness a little bit, and look at how much better that looks. You can actually make him out from the background. There's actually, there's some difference between the foreground and the background. This is like old school filmmaking from 10 years ago, back when Hollywood knew how to make movies. This is different. This is the kind of stuff that I want to see more of. Oh, look at that small difference that he made. I'm gonna go back. He made just one small difference. Mm-hmm. Look at that! So much better! So much better. One tiny change, I think, would have made a huge difference. And it's not just about the image being brighter. It's that you literally can now see a difference between Peter himself and the background. I don't know why in the initial version it's like everything is just blending together. Starry Sky Knight says, when Hollywood knew how to make movies. Damn, Brittney. Yeah, I know, I'm getting a little savage. You can tell I'm getting heated because I feel very passionate about it. Tracer says he's cute as Peter, better than the weirdly odd-looking and sounding animated version. I don't care that they race swapped him. I don't care about his looks. He's a kid. I just think that acting-wise, he was not the best Peter. Nina Joe says, we really have to wait for November 3rd for Dune. I know! And I'm really mad that Marvel moved, Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel 2 to right after Dune, because I want Dune to dominate the box office, and I'm kind of upset that Marvel is trying to kneecap it in the box office, because now it's only going to have IMAX screens for 1 week because Captain Marvel comes out the next week after Dune, which I'm annoyed about. Mitchell Pape, am I saying that right? I'm sorry. Says, Disney, if a YouTuber can make your film look appealing, you got a problem. Yeah, all he did was one button. One press of a button, and it looks so much better. Michael SD64 says, Dune Part 2 looks great. Yes, it does. Alright, I'm gonna keep going. So much better. Mm-hmm. Huge difference.
I'd be more forgiving if that was the point and Neverland ended up having more color, but it doesn't really. At least not that much.
Yeah, no.
It's like I'm watching Where the Wild Things Are.
Yeah.
That
I actually like Where the Wild Things Are, but he's about to point out that there was a reason why the movie looked the way it did, and I think it worked a lot better for that film than it does for Peter Pan.
movie had a point to not having much color. This is just so boring looking.
Yeah.
The original movie was so
Look at that! Look at how magical and tropical, like, of course any kid would want to live there. Look at how they made Neverland look in the original animated film, compared to how it looks in the movie. It's like night and day.
right. Neverland was just this gorgeous location with so much variety. But we actually
Oh, you guys want subtitles? Here. Here you go. Here's your subtitles, Catherine.
don't get to see much of Neverland in this movie. It's mostly just Hook's ship and the hideout. We get brief glimpses of the other places in Neverland.
Yep.
the Indian-
This scene right here, this is what he's pointing out about the Native Americans that I said earlier. You pretty much only see
The
them
hideout. We get brief
right here. This
glimpses
one scene here that he's showing is pretty much the only time you see the tribe in the whole movie. Like, they cut them out a lot compared to the original.
of other places in Neverland like the Indian tribe, but they're very brief.
Yeah.
I don't get it though. But hey, at least this movie can say it ain't racist or sexist or anything really, except trying too hard. We made Tinkerbell
Yeah.
black. We have girls and the Lost Boys. Even one of the kids has Down syndrome.
I thought that was really beautiful. I actually teared up a little when I saw that one of the kids in the Lost Boys had Down syndrome. I wasn't expecting it. You know, for a lot of Hollywood's really big about representation these days, but you never actually see like people with Down syndrome represented like ever. So the fact that they had a kid there with Down syndrome, it actually made me tear up a bit. I thought that was beautiful. But again, he's talking about the diversity here, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm not going to be upset that they made Tinkerbell black. Again, it's more of how they use Tinkerbell than anything. Like, if you're going to race bend the character, make sure that you put the character in the best light possible, and then they literally didn't. That's what makes me upset. Alright. What did you guys think? Black by popular demand says, I would have been happier if they stopped all the live action movies and just got back to making every new movie look like Frozen and Moana, because Disney and live action aren't mixing well. I agree. I think Disney should focus more on animated movies right now, because I think they're better at those than they are at live action films. It's like they've forgotten how to do live action movies. Oh, but Ari says she likes this Peter Pan in the movie. That's great. I'm glad you like him. Abdullah, yes, I do remember you from the last stream. Thank you. Agree, Miss B. Ooh, Miss B. I like that, Miss B. Frankie wants a snack. I guess some of the representation is a silver lining. Alright, maybe this is slightly controversial, but I don't think it's a huge positive or a huge negative either way. I just think that we should be focusing more on the story than the race of the actors. I know that's a controversial statement in 2023, but that's how I feel. Alright.
Aren't we just so inclusive here at Disney? You know, I'm honestly surprised they didn't make Captain Hook and Shmi be a gay couple in this movie. Especially given the
That would have been very par for the course in 2023 for sure.
So why not these guys too? Now look, don't take this as me shitting on representation and stuff. I have no problem with it, honestly. I could care less if they make Tinkerbell black or whatever.
Same
just
here.
see it for what it is. Disney doesn't actually care about representation.
Exactly.
They care about money. And
That's the other thing. I see a lot of people, and I understand where they're coming from when they want to defend a lot of these decisions that Disney makes. But at the same time, and I'm like, you have to understand, Disney is making this decision first and foremost about money and not because they actually care about diversity or inclusion. If they thought that making everyone white would make them money, that's what they would do. But they know it wouldn't, so that's why they add more diversity. You can defend diversity without defending Disney as a major conglomerate, is what I'm saying. Yuri says, depending on the setting, representation can matter. With a fairy, not really. That's a good point. I guess I mean in Peter Pan, in a story like Peter Pan, which is all fantasy, I don't think it should matter that much, like, what the races are. As long as there is, like, some diversity. And obviously with Tiger Lily, you have to make her Native American. If you're actually going to depict a certain culture, they should be of the culture they represent. But other than that, like, I don't think it should matter too much. Ginny says, I don't understand why we can't have bright colors in movies anymore. I haven't been excited about movies anymore. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you haven't been excited about movies, period. There's still a couple movies I'm excited for, like Dune, Barbie, Spider-Verse. I think the new Mission Impossible movie could be good. I'm even excited for Wonka, because I like Willy Wonka. So there's some good movies coming up. Stephen Gilly says, one of my favorite parts of Wreck-It Ralph was the main characters had a completely platonic relationship. That's okay. I don't know what that has to do with Peter Pan and Wendy, though. Very excited for you to react to season 2, Brittney. Over Arcane? Yes, I can't wait for Arcane. It's taking so long to get here, but I think Arcane is fantastic. Starry Sky Knight says, I love diversity, but I just wish they wouldn't act like the best since... Wouldn't act like the best since slice spread? I think what you're trying to say is you wish they wouldn't act like diversity was the most important part of the movie and the marketing. Is that what you're saying? Sorry if that's not what you mean, but I'm just trying to interpret it. Gina Rogers says, more representation equals less press. I find it interesting. Yeah, it's weird that they did the same thing with Strange World, too, where they didn't really market that movie at all, even though it was probably one of their most diverse movies Disney has ever made. So again, why do they keep doing this? It's a pattern. Cameron Lynch says, not all of us are hateful bigots that get butthurt at diversity. That's good. That's really good. I think it's annoying when people are like, oh, but why do they race swap? But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know how to talk about these subjects because I know they're so controversial. But I love diversity. I think it's good, but I wish we would focus more on, like, the movies themselves. I feel like everything has been about, well, but what is the political lens of this situation? Or what about this? Like, for example, with my Little Mermaid video, the entire time, I was very complimentary of Halle Bailey. I still, to this day, think Halle Bailey is probably going to be the best part of The Little Mermaid. I think she's beautiful. She has a great voice. I'm very excited to see her in the role. Yet in the comments, some people were like, oh, you're hating on Haley because you're hating on the movie because of the diversity. And I'm like, literally, I just said I think Haley's going to be one of the best parts of the movie. I just wish that we could talk about the movies themselves without having to bring up race, is what I'm saying. Does anyone agree? You can disagree, that's fine. We can have a nice debate here. Nina Joe says, as long as the actor is good, I like to hear about real African queens. Yes, I would love for Disney to, like, greenlight some, like, original African stories. That would be amazing. I just want more original stuff, too. Chocolate Gore says, let movies be movies. Yeah. 954art.com says, create a good story first, then worry about diversity. That's the way it should be. Yes. Catherine Pulley says, I think it's crazy how people got crazy over race swaps when most people love Nick Fury. Yeah, Will Smith and MIB when the characters were originally white. I think the reason why those Nick Fury and Will Smith and MIB weren't so talked about is because I think that was a very different time when you could just have conversations about movies without bringing up politics and race, but we live in a very different time now where that doesn't seem to be possible. Tracer says had to do and was allowed to do. I don't know what that means. Hi Desu says Black Mermaids is fantastic idea, but don't change the original for money. Makes new stories. Yes, that is my main thing. I just want new stories. If we could get, like, an original Disney princess movie about, like, some African queen, that would be amazing. Would love that. But don't just keep retreading what we already are doing, and then you're forced to race swap a bunch of characters because none of your original movies have much diversity, and then we get into these conversations. Mar Hawkman says Nick Fury in the movie is Nick Fury Jr. from the Ultimate Universe. I'll take your word for it. I don't know. All right. Because this is taking forever to get through this review, let's actually get to it.
Makes money nowadays. Representation.
Ooh, that was loud. I'm sorry.
Maybe it doesn't. Hey, you know what I miss? Peter Pan being kind of an asshole. In the original film, he was an immature boy.
Yeah, that's the immaturity that I think is missing from the live action. He was so much more mature when he shouldn't have been.
Wendy is side hoe. He was pulling chicks everywhere, and he didn't have to try. Peter Pan had game, and he was too young to even
That's very, very true.
This movie,
Everyone wanted Peter.
So boring.
Yeah.
They're all boring. Every character. This is such a weird thing to say, but this is oddly a very serious movie. Like,
Very serious. Like, it's so serious that literally as I was watching it, I was like, this might be the saddest movie I've seen in a long time. Why did they make a Peter Pan movie so somber? Knitter MH says, the live action loses magic and looks creepy. Just stick to animation and bring new stories from different cultures. Yes! Exactly what I think. Thank you. The Void says, the Princess and the Frog was quite enjoyable and refreshing. Yes. And not too long ago for Disney and wasn't preachy. Exactly. More stuff like that. I would love more diversity. I just want to do it well. I think it's really, really important that if you're going to do diversity and add diversity, it has to be done well. It can't just be, let's race swap some characters and call it a day. You got to do more than that. Jay Headley says, Peter has mature moments in other incarnations. Oh. I didn't know that. Eddie Madison says, I mean, he did cut off Hook's hand as a prank. Was it as a prank? I thought he was doing it to be mean. Missed that it was a prank. No one had an issue with Robin Williams' Peter Pan and Hook. Well, because it's Robin Williams. Robin Williams is incredible. He's a great actor. Much better than the actor we got in the new one. Alright, keep going.
To a depressing degree. There isn't that much levity or comedy, really. I think there's maybe like 3 or 4 jokes in the entire film. I'm not kidding. There's just all these serious talking scenes and monologuing and Jesus Christ, this is fucking Peter Pan. Have a fucking adventure.
Yep.
Go around the island. Look at some
I wish they did that.
Just do something for Christ's sake.
That's what I wish they would do. Literally, I feel like Neverland felt like such a small, tiny island with like maybe a couple of dozen people on it. Like, I wanted them to explore Neverland and see like why it was so alluring to all these kids, but we never really got that. We never really got to understand why kids wanted to come to Neverland specifically, other than just to avoid aging, because Neverland didn't seem like some cool place a person would want to live in. Yeah. Yeah, Jay Headley, it was out of retaliation, exactly. Alright, let's keep going.
I can't believe I'm this bored from a Peter Pan movie. Look, I'm cool with having slow scenes and serious talks in a kid's movie, but there's just so much of it in this one. And on top of that, the movie forgets the critical role of filmmaking. Show, don't tell. Spoilers for this movie that I don't really recommend, but I actually like the idea that Captain Hook was a former Lost Boy and Peter's friend at one
It was
point.
okay.
I like that Peter banished him for simply missing his mom and wanted to
I didn't. I thought that was strange.
thus became a pirate. It's actually a cool idea that I've never seen before. But the problem is they don't show us anything.
No. That was something that I did wish that they would do, and I think this is a great point. When I told you Hook's backstory, you never really see it. They just tell you about it. It's one of those reasons why I think this movie really could have been a lot better than it was. It's because why would you give us this emotional backstory for Hook, but then we don't actually see any flashbacks of it? They just tell you. They don't even show you. It would have been so much more impactful if they actually could show you. But they didn't. It was a lot of just talking in this movie. Again, I know I sound like I hated it. I promise I actually thought it was alright. But at the same time, I can also see why a lot of people don't like it.
boring talking and sad speeches and oh, woe is me. They have
Hook was very immature.
scenes where they all just
I
talk
felt
about
like
this shit.
I felt like Hook was more immature in this movie than Peter Pan was. You know what I mean?
It's like, this is Peter Pan? This is the most depressing shit I've ever seen. I think 13 Reasons Why is less depressing than this somehow. They don't show Peter's negative immaturity in this movie. At least not that much.
Oh,
Apparently,
God.
Peter already regrets what he did to Hook,
Yeah.
but shouldn't that have
Look
been...
at how gloomy this is. Literally, like, there's whole sections of this movie. Again, this is on Neverland. This isn't London. This is Neverland. Look how gloomy it looks. Don't you want to live there forever and never age?
Arc, shouldn't we actually see him learn to regret what he did? For some reason, these live-action remakes have a problem with showing their
6
main
out of 10.
characters do
Yeah.
bad things and be bad people, even when them...
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Catherine. Also, why give Hook the backstory when we're supposed to like and root for Peter? I felt like after I heard Hook's backstory, I was immediately more on his side. Like, I'm glad you agree with me. As soon as I heard Hook's backstory, I was like, well, Peter Pan's the jerk here. Like, yeah, you're Hook, you're acting a bit immature trying to fight kids, but, like, I understand why you're angry. I don't understand.
Being bad has a point to it. Peter Pan's a little shit. He's a total troll who doesn't learn a lesson. He's an immature little kid. That's the whole point of Neverland. To never grow up.
He's just saying what I'm saying.
He's more like a whiny teenager whose favorite album is A Beautiful Lie. Sure, we get bits and pieces of his original personality here and there, like when he puts on a fake beard
Yes.
full of pirates.
The fake beard thing should have been more of a thing. We should have seen more Peter hijinks because that's what he was known for, just pulling hijinks on people. Why was this Peter just so serious all the time?
But once they get to the hideout, he takes a complete 180, and it almost feels
Hook's
like
arm does
character
look cheap.
assassination. Not to mention in the end, it's kind of a pointless change. Hook still wants
We
to
only
kill
see the
Peter,
well-lit
he still
half.
has handcuffed off and fed to the crocodile, who's barely even in the movie, by the way.
Yeah.
The ending for both Peter and Hook are relatively unchanged. So what was even the point of it? It just feels like such a waste of a genuinely cool idea. Also,
I don't know. I feel like, okay, if I can say one positive about this movie, because again, I actually did kind of enjoy it a bit. I thought that the very... Okay. I thought at the very end of the movie, they had a big fight sequence on the ship as it's flying and it starts twirling around and they're like, Hook is fighting Peter and Wendy and all the kids. I actually thought that fight sequence was cool. I thought it was a very inventive way to like show a fight sequence as we're fighting on a flying ship. Sorry, that's like twirling in the air. I thought that was good. That was one part of the movie that I liked. Jay Terracini says, Peter Pan lost all his personality and magic in this movie. Yeah, very true. Makes you want to watch the original now, Starry Sky Nights? I totally get it. Alright, let's get back to this.
Peter and Hook are relatively unchanged. So what was even the point of it? It just feels like such a waste of a genuinely cool idea.
Yep.
Also, apparently he's been stalking Wendy in this movie.
They never addressed this either.
Did you know my name, Peter Pan?
I heard your mother call you. Wendy, time to wake up. She says, Wendy, time for school. Wendy, bedtime.
You've been
Yeah.
watching me.
Sometimes.
Right, and they never address this again, which I'm like, what? They just kind of bring up in the beginning of the movie that Peter's kind of been like stalking Wendy, and then it's never brought up again. I just thought that was weird too. Was that in the original? I don't remember it. I don't know. I just thought that was funny.
Okay. That is an interesting change. Okay.
Yeah, very creepy.
I think I prefer the racism because at least I got catchy song from that. Also,
Not
I hate
prefer
to
the
be mean to
racism.
this kid, but this is such a bad performance. He is just so lifeless and dull and emotionless.
Yeah,
Like, just
that's how I
listen
feel.
to him.
I'm Peter Pan. I don't ever need help. I like it. I like it very much.
That's how he delivers every line.
I saved the day.
You say part of the day.
I did a pretty good job at it. No
I'm not trying to be
tricks,
mean towards the kid.
No magic.
I'm just saying,
Tricks.
I think they could have gotten a better actor.
Just a little help from my friends. Neverland. Just wasn't good enough for him. I really thought you'd be happy here. You look like you're about to tell your friend not to come to school tomorrow, man.
You know what? I think I take that back.
Peter Pepper Saltzman says he wasn't stalking her. His mother used to live there, so he was visiting. They don't bring that up in the movie, though. I do think there is a bit at the very end where the mom recognizes Peter and the ship that they're trying to suggest that Peter had visited Wendy's mother when she was a little girl. But that's really the only, like, on-camera confirmation of that. Maybe that's how it is in the book, but in the movie, they never explain why Peter was looking at Wendy at all. That is just never actually verbally explained in the movie. Alright.
I think a whiny emo kid would actually show us some emotion
Yes.
there. The other kids aren't much better. Michael and John are actually barely in this film. So much so that they have to get captured by Hook almost immediately as soon as they enter Neverland, just so Peter can save them and justify their existence in the film. After that, they don't do a thing. And
Yeah, they don't do anything. This is what I'm talking about when I say I feel like Peter Lowry, you could tell he cared about Wendy, Hook, and this theme of, aging and death. Those are the three main focuses of the movie. Everyone else gets shortchanged big time. The other brothers, Wendy's brothers, they're hardly in the movie. Tinkerbell, hardly in the movie. Magic, hardly in the movie. Mermaids, in one shot. Literally, it's like he focused in on, zeroed in on just like two characters and everything else didn't matter. Yeah. Again, I can understand why people didn't like the movie.
5 lines total between the two of them in the second half.
Yes, I will react to the Wonka trailer, Amber.
God damn it. Way to ruin the best character from the original. I get they were trying to make him more sympathetic in this version, but they forgot something very crucial. Captain Hook is pathetic. He's a grown-ass man who's got beef with a 12-year-old boy. He's like Team Rocket, only without the sass.
They really could have given him some more camp and...
bloody coward who cries for mercy.
Yeah.
Will then try to stab you the second your back is turned.
They really could have played up the whole he's a coward angle, which Captain Hook is known for. All they really did with Hook is, like, make him this emotional baddie that feels slighted by Peter from when he was a child, and he's just this emotionally tortured man. They took all the fun and camp away from Hook and just made him this, like, emotionally tortured person. Again, stop making villains relatable. I hate that. That's, like, the worst trend in Hollywood right now.
The little weasel in the original understood this. It was actually kind of funny, since even though he's a grown man, he still acts like a little kid in some ways. But despite this, he was actually a really cunning villain. He wasn't afraid to put on a show to fool people into a false...
Very true. This is a good video, by the way. You guys should subscribe to this person. It's Razor Blade, spelled R-A-S-O-R Blade. You guys should follow them. This is a very good video.
Show that despite his pathetic nature, he still had the capability to be a threatening and intelligent villain who just so happens to be pretty petty as well. But
Yeah.
in this version,
Very different.
He doesn't trick anybody
No.
into discovering Peter Pan's hideout. No! Instead, he and his men are just randomly walking around in the woods and stumble upon it by sheer fucking accident. Way to keep in touch with the...
There is just so much of this kind of lazy writing happening in Hollywood right now. Again, I feel like this speaks to a lot of just the general trends in Hollywood at the moment, and this is one of them, where I feel like characters will just coincidentally, like, happen to be where they need to be when the plot needs them to be. And that happened a lot in this movie, especially with Hook. Like, he would just find these kids somehow. Again, I guess Neverland isn't that big, but still, it was very, very convenient. Tracer says, Peter is a petulant kid, so I don't resent them making him childish, but man, I'd be intrigued at a more uncanny Peter who's touched by the Fae and very inhuman. I think there's more they just could have done with Peter in general. Again, I think David Lowery cared a lot more about Wendy than he did Peter.
Conniving nature, guys. He's boring. Jude Law is boring. Smee is boring. It's all boring.
I didn't think it was boring.
No levity. Just so deadpan and straightforward.
Yeah.
I cannot remember.
Actually, I disagree with this. I don't think that Hook was deadpan. Some of the other actors, like Peter, were very deadpan, but I thought Jude Law actually gave the most emotional performance out of the entire cast. I thought he was like the one good actor in the whole movie.
Line that comes out of this guy's mouth. I can't remember a single thing he does, save for one thing, which we'll get into. I promise. And then there's Wendy. Oh my god, you guys really fucked this character up,
Ooh.
didn't you?
Ooh.
Again, this
This dude is savage.
The pacing. The movie starts off with her not wanting to grow up, same as
Yeah.
the original. She meets Peter Pan and is excited to go to Neverland and fight pirates and shit. She's completely aware of the stories and what awaits her in Neverland.
They
But
changed
then,
her a
after
lot.
one
Yeah.
measly fight with Captain
In the original Peter Pan movie, they made Wendy like she was always like taking care of her brother. She was already acting very motherly towards her brothers. Like she was taking care of them. But in this movie, she literally like says it's all men for themselves and like lies about something that she did in the beginning of the movie that would have made her get in trouble, but she blames it on her brothers. Like she becomes from the original movie where she's like a lot nicer and actually cares about her brothers and like Peter and stuff. And in this version, she's just like, I wouldn't say insufferable, that's too far, but she definitely doesn't care about trying to be kind to her brothers. Like she doesn't really do anything other than just be the stereotypical girl boss. You know what I mean? Like they took a lot of her kinder qualities away, I feel. Like they definitely changed Wendy a lot. Yeah, at this point, Disney's becoming a cliche. I agree. Chocolate Gore says, allow women in movies to be softies again. We don't care about girl bosses only. We can have some girl boss characters. I just don't like when every single female character now is a girl boss, especially from Disney. I just want more variety. Again, I've said this, I don't know if I've said this on a live stream, but I've said this in real life. It's like Hollywood has not learned the lessons of Legally Blonde, where women could be feminine and super girly and like wear pink and like boys and all the very stereotypical girly stuff and still be a strong character. I feel like Hollywood is now so dead set on removing any and all femininity or like any sort of like womanly traits from female characters now in order to make them strong. I actually think ironically that's very sexist. So yeah, I agree. Pretty much. Okay, so you guys agree. We need femme fatales too, yes! And overbearing matrons. I want complicated women. I want messy women. I want women who do bad things, women who cry, women who sleep around. I want all sorts of women. I don't just want this one very cookie cutter idea of a strong woman, which is the, oh, I'm better than all the other boys, and I'm just gonna beat up all the men all the time, which is what we get a lot. Like, I want more diversity in how women are portrayed, to be honest. Talking Raccoon says, I've always been interested in Tiger Lily's character, but her portrayal seems kind of lazy compared to the other well-developed characters. Yeah, I don't know if you were here earlier, but I think they hid a lot of the Native American stuff in general from this movie because they were afraid to offend people. They weren't in this movie that much at all. Alright, let's keep going.
Captain Hook, she also takes a sudden 180 in her character.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, she doesn't want to stay in Neverland and
Yeah.
wants to grow up and live a full life. I'm sorry, where the hell did this come from? In the original, Wendy learning that it's okay to grow up was a slow burner. She saw how immature Peter and the Lost Boys were and didn't want to end up like that. On top of that, she was already pretty mature herself, being the older sister to her brothers. So it feels natural that she would come to be comfortable again with this role that she had had for years already. But in this movie,
He's saying exactly what I'm saying.
early in the movie, and she has very little interaction with them
Yeah.
in the cave scene.
You wouldn't even know that they were like... She acts like she's not even related to her brothers. Like, she doesn't even know them. Like, the script itself treats her brothers like they aren't even there. It really is just like a Wendy and Hook story, pretty much. Even Peter Pan is like, just kind of there for angst. That's pretty much it.
This comes right the fuck out of nowhere. I get that she was afraid for her brothers and stuff, but it still just feels so abrupt. Suddenly she's trying to convince Peter Pan.
Jay, she barely does anything in this movie too, though.
It's so tedious. I don't buy her development at all because it's just so spontaneous. It really comes down that the pacing is one of the worst issues in this movie. It's over 20 minutes longer than the original, including credits, and yet it somehow feels like less is going on. Like,
I actually don't even think that it needed to be shorter. I just think there needed to be more going on. Like, if they had just taken a part of the movie to explore Neverland and actually add some like magical elements to Neverland to explore, I think it wouldn't have felt too long. I just think the reason why it felt slow and long when the movie isn't even that long is because the characters are not given that much to do. Most of the scenes are just like very serious talking scenes when there could have been a lot more going on. Finn reading blog says, right, and Wendy and Peter turned her into a strong female character. Or who are you talking about? Tiger Lily or Wendy? I don't know who you're talking about. The punching turned Wendy into a bad role model. I don't know if she was a bad role model. I feel like their main concern was Wendy was more about just being a girl boss. That's it. Even when she has the memories, and I liked this scene. The scene where she imagines herself growing older, I wish I could find it on YouTube, but I can't. She ends up dying alone. Even though I liked that scene, and I get what they were doing, and I thought it was very poetic. They were so adamant on making sure that Wendy never meets any boy or any girl or has any relationships or even any kids, means that she dies alone. Like, literally, that's her happy future, is like, oh, you're gonna do all these things and then you're gonna die alone because you never had any relationship or kids, because we can't have that in 2023. I just think it's stuff like that where I'm like, we can have girls that want those things and still be strong. I don't understand. I feel like Hollywood is going backwards on that.
How do you do that?
All right. Yeah, this scene right here.
Who the fuck asked for that? There's also this weird trend where people are thinking too much about fairy tales and they try to explain the magic in them, and frankly, these are just really stupid questions.
Doesn't she close her eyes in that scene? I'm pretty sure she was dying. Lydia Sylvian says, in writing, when it comes to passive versus active voice wins every time. Exposition-heavy stories get boring so quickly. Yeah, this was very much a exposition-heavy story that I think could have used a bit more, maybe flashbacks or just imagery in general. Like, there was just way too much talking when they could have been showing stuff.
Who cares why there aren't any parents in Neverland? Who cares why they don't grow up there? It's a dumb fairy tale for dumb fucking kids. You don't need to explain these things, especially when, in fact, the movie doesn't answer those questions.
No, it doesn't.
Wendy asks these questions and never gets a straight answer. You cannot ask these questions and then not answer them. It's like, what the fuck? But perhaps the weirdest thing about
this is very good. He's explaining my issues for me.
Now, normally, I'm cool with a kid's movie having some brutality here and there, but this movie is honestly kind of gruesome. The crocodile eats multiple people in his one scene, but then there is easily the best scene in the whole movie, which I wholeheartedly actually love.
Which one?
Peter Pan fucking dies.
Oh yeah! How did I forget this scene? How in the world did I forget this scene? Oh yeah, this is like the most tragic and darkest part of the story. Peter Pan dies. I don't know how I forgot that, but like there's a whole part of the movie where like they just show a dead kid on screen. And like he doesn't come back until like a few minutes later. Like he properly dies. And this is him. I don't know how I forgot that. That's like one of the most WTF moments in the film. But yeah, Peter Pan dies. They show dead kid on screen. I thought that was metal as fuck, man. I was like, whoa, Disney, you really went there. I genuinely forgot. How did I forget? Yeah, I almost wanted him to stay dead, because I would have been like, whoa, that was a bold move. I was not expecting that. Yeah. He got too many concussions from being slapped. Yeah. So, wait, who brings him back to life? I forgot. Honestly, I just saw this movie like a couple days ago. I already forgot stuff that happened, which is not good. It is pretty forgettable in parts. But yeah, how did I forget that freaking Peter Pan dies? Yeah, anyway.
Hook actually successfully kills him. and it's not a fake out. No, he does, as a matter of fact, die in this.
Yep, he does.
Sure, he comes back, but it's so stupid that it's probably the funniest thing that I've seen in a Disney live-action remake since that scene where Dalmatians murder Cruella de Vil's mother.
And they don't explain it, too.
It's fucking brutal, man.
They don't explain how he came back to life.
Sword and cuts him open across the chest.
I'm assuming now that Peter Pan is immortal because there's no other way. Well, I guess, we already knew Peter Pan is immortal, but I meant, like, he can't even die in Neverland because Hook does kill him, but he comes back to life. Tiger Lily brings Peter back to life. Yeah, that's probably her most important role in the whole movie. Otherwise, it's just kind of like giving pep talks to people.
This boy open like an envelope. There's blood pouring out of the
wound.
Like, oh my god!
Yeah, I know.
PG-rated movie? And then
this is PG?
He falls down like a 10-story drop, and then just fucking falls through the floor like a goddamn cartoon character. I was on the floor laughing my ass off at this scene.
Yeah, I know. Literally, as I was watching that sequence, I was just like, no, they're not gonna kill Peter Pan. No, this won't happen. And then they did it. I was shocked. I was just as shocked as he was. The Hunchback of Notre Dame is probably the darkest movie Disney has made, says Jazz Wolf Blaze. Yes, that's true. Which is probably why they will never make a live-action version of that. Because how can you do that? Hellfire alone should have made that movie like PG-13. Oh, you like Tiger Lily in the original 1953 movie? I feel like she was more memorable there. I don't know. Tiger Lily in this movie didn't stand out to me much. Yeah. Let's get back.
Scene in the movie that warrants a watch because it has to be seen to be believed in. If I ever get showered in fairy dust and have to think a happy thought in order to fly, this will be.
No! Oh my god! This guy is savage.
But then the stupid part happens and ruins it. So Peter's shadow is able to break away from the corpse. And find
right? They literally showed a child corpse on screen.
And just like that, he's right as rain. He's completely healed. Not limping from the fall or gripping his chest from the gaping gash that was on his chest. No, he's completely 100% healed and brought
Yeah, they never really explain it. Again, I guess it's just magic? I don't know. But then they make it seem like only Tinkerbell really has magic, so I don't know. You guys are saying they are doing a live-action Hunchback. I know that they announced it years ago, but there has been no development on that movie, so I don't know if they're still doing it. I kind of doubt it at this point. Damon says they did show the unthinkable of showing the death of a main character. They really did! On screen! That's why I said it was, like, super metal. It's like, did Disney just show a dead kid's body on screen? What? That really threw me. Okay.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, it was clearly magic that saved him. Tiger Lily clearly did some Native American magic, which I argue is also kind of racist itself, but I wouldn't worry about that because she didn't.
How did you do?
Yeah.
How did you survive?
I fixed us this time. No magic. No tricks. Just a little help from my friends.
Bullshit it ain't! In a world of
Dude!
mermaids and magic and stuff, you're gonna tell
Yeah, that one shot that you just saw of the mermaids, it's like all you see of them. They take a lot of the magic out of Neverland. Like a lot. Yeah, chocolate gore. I don't think if Disney did do a live action Hunchback of the Notre Dame, I don't think they would do it well because they would have to neuter it considerably. The original is way too dark for, I think, modern sensibilities. Sorry. I think parents would literally complain if they made it a faithful adaptation because it's so dark. The movie opens with, like, someone trying to kill a baby. I don't think they can do Hunchback of Notre Dame, guys. Not without changing it extensively.
Me to my face that magic didn't bring you back from the dead. You fucking bled out for hours, and you're gonna tell me a fucking patch job not only brought you back, but also completely healed you?
Yep.
The one instance where you don't use magic, and yet the only logical
It's so-
explanation for it would have been magic.
Thank
What
you.
the fuck is this movie thinking?
Thank you. I wouldn't have such a problem with that scene if they had established that was even a possibility. It just kind of seems like magic is... There are no real rules on this magic. It just kind of does what the plot needs it to.
No tricks. Just a little help from my friends.
Oh, it was your friends? The friends that you barely interacted with at all in this entire fucking movie? Those friends? Are they who you're talking about? Because the only person you've had any meaningful interaction with throughout the whole movie has been Wendy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I get it.
It's very much a Wendy movie.
And Wendy. Haha. I guess it's just their movie then. The Lost Boys, the brothers.
I see a lot of you guys are like, yeah, I'm not watching this movie now. It's so funny because a lot of you in the beginning of the stream says you only heard of this movie because of me. And now in the same breath, you guys are like, yeah, I'm not watching it because of you. That's funny. Yeah, there's no point of killing Peter Pan if they're going to bring him back. They brought him back literally, like, just a couple minutes later. I think that's why I forgot about it. Because it wasn't even that, like... It had zero impact on the story. It was just there for shock value, and boy, did it shock me. Because I was like, no, they're not killing Peter Pan. And then they did. And then the camera lingered on his dead body for far too long for a PG movie. But yeah, let's get back.
Fucking Tinkerbell, they're just fucking afterthoughts in this movie. And yet you're gonna tell me they brought you back? You're gonna try and actually pull the power of friendship cliche on this movie? Don't fuck with me. I get the power of God and anime on my side. Oh, this is so fucking stupid.
It's good.
God. It's ironically one of the few redeeming factors of this movie. There's a couple of brief moments here and there that do fall into that so bad it's good territory. Like this one moment where Peter and the kids are hiding out on this rocky outcrop and they're making a plan to attack Hook and the pirates. And while they're busy planning, Hook points a cannon at them and actually succeeds in hitting them. They fucking blow up, and it's played off like it's super serious. Guys, you cannot have a little
It was
shit
super
who's
serious. Again, there's just so many little things. Again, I wish I could, like, react to it, but I know YouTube copyright would not let me. Because there were certain scenes in this movie where I had the same reaction as this guy. Like, in the beginning, where those kids get blown up by the cannon, I was like, whoa, what? And they just, like, start flying in the air in slow-mo. Yeah, that was another pretty hilarious movie. I mean, hilarious moment. But not for the reason Disney wants you to think so.
Make an overly complicated plan to attack his enemy, and then go and get one-shotted. That shit is comedy gold. There is this one time that I also found myself laughing at.
Wake me up if one of them kills the other. Again.
That was funny.
You know what?
That was like the
That's
one
the
funny
whole
joke
review in a nutshell, right
in the whole
there.
movie.
Wake me up when people are dying. Wake me up when Peter Pan dies. Oh my god, it's so dumb. Oh man, this.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. We're at the end of the video now. This took a long time to get through the video because I did a lot of pausing, but this was a very, very good video. Again, go subscribe to this guy. He's great. But yeah, he pointed out a lot of the things that I didn't like about the movie. Again, the visuals, very dark for no reason. I think some of the magic makes no sense. The little magic that's actually there. They did very little with Tiger Lily and like any other character that wasn't Hook or Wendy. I thought the main actor for Peter Pan was pretty wooden. They did nothing with Tinkerbell. They changed Wendy quite substantially. And then they killed a kid on screen. How do I keep forgetting that? They killed a kid. Oh yeah. And we saw a kid's lifeless body on the ground for like a solid minute. Fun for the whole family. Yeah. But at the same time, the reasons why I actually do like the movie is because, well, like is a strong word. I should say I understand the movie. I understand that what David Lowery was going for was a deep, introspective movie about aging and death and not being afraid of it. And he really wanted, I think, little girls specifically, even more than little boys, to feel like more empowered, I guess. But we all saw how that looked. I liked some of the action in the end, as I said. I actually thought Jude Law gave a really great performance. I thought he was probably the best part of the movie. And again, the scene where right before she ruins it with that stupid this magic doesn't belong to a boy line. I thought that whole scene where Wendy flies at the end was actually very beautiful, and it made me tear up a little. And I do like that they added diversity to the story. Like I said, I actually teared up a bit when I saw that one of the Lost Boys had Down syndrome, because I wasn't expecting that. I thought that was beautiful. But that's kind of how I feel about the movie. If you're okay with a movie that is like wildly different from any other Peter Pan story you've ever seen, and you want that, then this movie is probably for you. If you want a movie like Hook or the 2003 Peter Pan movie that's bright, colorful, fun adventure film, this is not it. You will hate it. That's pretty much how I feel about this movie. Starry Sky Knight says, it's Peter Pan, not a Clockwork Orange. Damn, no one cares about introspection. Well, I feel like the reason why a lot of critics really like this movie is because it's so introspective. I genuinely feel like there's never been a bigger difference between what critics want from a movie and what fans want from a movie than today. And I feel like this sort of subversing expectations and going the sort of darker, deeper route is exactly what critics wanted, but I just don't think that's what the majority of audiences want. Tracer says, if you want a bright and colorful Peter Pan movie, just the 2003 one. Yeah, as I mentioned, that if you want Peter Pan to be like that movie, this is not that. C. Schultz says, have to go. Thanks for the stream, Brittney. Thank you for joining me. It's very nice having you here. Bye, C. Yes. Okay, Jess PR says, I think I enjoyed it until the dead Peter. Everything went downhill from there. Yeah, the dead Peter thing really took me off guard, too. I'm with you. I was like, even after he was laying there, I was like, there's no way that he's dead. But then he was. And then he wasn't. Yeah, Yellow Umbrella said, yeah, Neverland was very dull. It just felt like normal Scotland. Exactly. Wield says, Disney is trying to be edgy like Netflix. Yeah, I do feel like it's a bit of that. I feel like Disney feels like, because they're Disney and they're known as a family-friendly brand, they really want to do more adult edgy stuff, because I feel like adult and edgy is very in right now. But it doesn't really fit with their brand. I wish they would just double down on the family stuff and stop trying to be edgy. Tiger Lily directly is definitely more memorable than 1953. I ship her with Lampwick from Pinocchio 1940. Okay. Yeah, to be honest, I feel like Tiger Lily, I don't know what it was. Again, she wasn't really in the movie that much. I just don't really remember much about her character. Like, she just didn't really stand out to me. Ginger Alice says, makes me think critics got some connection to the studios making media today. How can everyone hate it aside from the critics? Seems suspicious to me. Yeah, and to be fair, I do think there was a small but definitely there section of people who hate this movie just because it's diverse. But I don't think that's the majority. I really think majority of people don't like the movie because it's so dark and depressing. Amber Simmons says, I also have to go. Oh, that's okay. Thank you, Amber, for joining. It was nice having you here. See you next weekend. Again, we'll be here every Friday at 1. Frankie wants a snack says, which is the worst live action remake so far? Ooh. We can start the Q&A section of the video then. I was going to react to the Dune trailer, but I already did that. And I want you guys to actually go watch the video, so please go watch my Dune reaction. And this live stream has went on long enough, so we're going to end it now, or in a few minutes, because I'm going to do my live stream now. My Q&A. I can talk. Words are hard. This is why I do so many jump cuts in my videos, by the way, because my stream of consciousness is all over the place, but yeah. I'm going to do my Q&A now for like the next 10 minutes or so you guys can just ask me anything, and then that'll be the end of the stream. So thank you guys for joining. We talked about Peter Pan a lot today. I'm actually really glad we decided to do a live review instead of a normal review, because I wanted to talk about it with you guys, and this was really fun, so that's great. But yeah, let's get to the Q&A. Frankie wants a snack says 65% tomato meter versus 14% audience score. Yeah, the audience score is pretty bad. Again, I'm not surprised, like, at all. Even though I can appreciate and understand what they were trying to do with this movie, Again, I just don't think it's the kind of Peter Pan film people want. But what is the worst live action? Did I answer that? I think it's... Pinocchio is pretty much up there. But I also think Mulan is really bad, too. I think it's between Pinocchio and Mulan for the worst live action. I don't think Peter Pan and Wendy is anywhere near as bad as, like, Pinocchio or Mulan. Those were awful. I almost didn't finish Mulan, and I love the original Mulan, but the live action Mulan was so bad, I almost didn't want to, like, finish it. It was just god awful. MLP Girl 1998 says Tiger Lily is definitely more memorable in 1953. Oh, I already said that. Talking Raccoon says, man, rip vicious Tinkerbell. I always loved her bloodthirst. Yeah, she was always trying to kill Wendy in the original, wasn't she? I thought that was what made her funny. But yeah, they definitely tamed a lot of Tinkerbell's personalities in this. Again, they really showed Tinkerbell. She was pretty much there to react to stuff. Thanks for the amazing stream, girlfriend. Oh, thank you, Baby Yoda's fangirl. I appreciate it. Exile Warrior says, Peter Pan 2003 was the best Peter Pan. A lot of you keep saying that, so I think that might be the people's favorite. Do you think there's a gas leak in the studio? Oh, Jesus. Not literally. Do I think that there is a certain cultural mindset at Disney that thinks that movies like Peter Pan and Wendy are what the people want? Yes. Do I think that's what the people want? No. I think they need more people outside of the Hollywood bubble working on these films to be able to see it from an outsider's perspective, to be honest. Mulan was awful. Mulan was so bad. I don't know how they messed up that movie. The original was so good. All you had to do was just copy it. And I know I said I don't want to copy, like, beat for beat, but what they did with it was just bad. Jay Headley says, Peter Pan and Wendy can't be worse than Pinocchio. No, Pinocchio's definitely worse. Pinocchio is awful. I didn't even finish Pinocchio. That is still the only live-action Disney movie that I did not finish. I didn't finish Pinocchio because I thought it was that bad. Yeah, they tamed Tink a lot. Like, a lot. Which I kind of miss the rivalry between Wendy and, like, Tinkerbell. That was one of my favorite parts of the original movie, actually. Frankie Wants a Snack says, did Tom Hanks have a downfall or something? I see comments disliking him. There's a lot of QAnon stuff about him. Very dark stuff. I don't believe any of it, though. Jazz Wolf Blaze says, they listen to Twitter for far too long. Yes! I want every Hollywood screenwriter to be banned from Twitter. Because I'm seeing way too many movies and shows that look like they were written by Twitter. I think a lot of people in Hollywood really loves Twitter. Like, the media loves Twitter. And I think that's actually been really bad for society and for art. Because they're letting Twitter influence their movies now. And it's really hard to not see. Jess PR says, did you watch Pinocchio from Guillermo del Toro? Yes, I did a whole video about it a couple months ago. Or I compared Disney's live-action Pinocchio to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. And I thought Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio was so much better. Like, night and day better. Official Joke Mob says, do you think Wendy needed to slap Peter across the face? No. I thought that was excessive. And again, why did they do that? It's like they do stuff like that to intentionally enrage the male audience member who's watching it. I really don't understand why Disney keeps doing that. Disney seems to think that female empowerment and feminism is hating on men and putting men down. And I think that is a mistake. Emily says, Disney is so reactive. You see it in Star Wars too, and a bit in Marvel. Oh yeah, very reactive. They listen to Twitter far too much. Far too much. Shannon Headley says, I remember hating Tinkerbell because of how horrible she was to Wendy, and since she got her own movie, they made her super sweet. Not my Tink. Yeah, she was pretty nasty to Wendy. When I rewatched Peter Pan a few years ago, I was shocked by how, like, vicious she was to Wendy, but I kind of thought that was funny. But again, I do understand why they changed it. Olve Gutton says, it was shocking because kids is watching this. Are you talking about Peter's death? Yes, that was very shocking. Ginger Alice says, lived but didn't work on Hollywood for some time, and yeah, this is spot on. Everyone is homeless or stuck on their phone on Twitter. Yeah, I used to live, well, not in LA. I lived in Anaheim, which is right outside LA, and I went to LA frequently. Yeah, LA is, it's like its own bubble. It really is. It's like a different world over there. Aioli Garlic says, I've always liked Tink, but because she was mean, and I always hated Wendy because she's an unrelatable, goofy, goody two-shoes. Oh, so you liked the edginess in Tink. Interesting. That's okay. Alright, I'm just gonna take a few more questions, and then I'll be done. Thank you! This was a very long stream, so if you're still here, thank you. Holly Sheet says, Disney wants to buy Twitter from Musk. Disney wanted to buy Twitter a long time ago, but then Bob Iger had cold feet and said no. I highly doubt they would want Twitter now. Yeah, Disney is BFFs with Twitter, especially in the pre-Musk era. Alright, 2 more questions. Katie B. Lang says, Tink was able to break a lock earlier in the movie, but then was unable to break the lantern. Yeah, the magic in this movie was inconsistent, as I said. I think the world building of Neverland and the magic could have been a lot better. But again, I don't think that's where David Lowery's priorities were. He was much more concerned with the characters, and by the characters, I mean just Wendy and Hook, pretty much. It was very, very obvious he didn't really care about Neverland or the magic or any of that. That was just not where his focus was. Alright, last question. Gage Savage says, do you think they have the same strategy as Velma? Amped, you're getting blocked. You keep asking me about stupid OnlyFans, you're getting blocked. Why won't it let me block? Weird. Won't let me block you. Of course. Hold on. Because you keep doing this, and I'm tired of it. Where did you go? Well, I'll answer this one question first, then. Do I think Disney has the same strategy as Velma in the sense that, they're trying to purposely antagonize people and get people upset to talk about their movies? I think there's a bit of that in their marketing, especially because in the marketing, they made it a point to point out that there were girls in the Lost Boys, and they had that whole, scene where Wendy's like, oh, but you're not all boys, and then they're like, so... I definitely feel like they added that scene so early in the trailer because they knew it would piss people off. So if you mean, are they using the Velma strategy of intentionally trying to piss off people, then yes, I do think Disney is doing a bit of that. Oh, and we have another super chat. Thank you, Nicholas Wilson. Thank you, Brittney. This has been interesting. I'm glad you like the live stream. I do them every Friday at 1, so please come back next week. I want these live streams to grow. I'm actually thinking of doing more than 1 live stream a week, so please let me know if you wanted to do more than 1. I could do 2 or 3, I don't know. I really like these live streams. They're fun. But yes, so that was my last question. Thank you, everyone, for who came. This was really, really fun. I didn't really know I didn't really have, too many set things to talk about today. I just wanted to talk about Peter Pan and Wendy, so the fact that we went 2 hours talking about Peter Pan and Wendy is pretty insane, but also really cool. But thank you guys. This has been great. I'll see you guys next week on the next live stream. Bye.